Hello. Hello, species value system. I can't stop saying. I don't know why this is. It was an accident because I'm speaking about a serious subject. I've been asking to report crime acts for a long time. The online media has been used for identity thefts. Their roles with child predators. They're recorded used Facebook interbranch to force sustained a principal sex offender, and worse, with that with them using their kids and stuff like this, which was the same school and actors tied to it that were involved with the nature of organized crime act roles with a whole bunch of nature of organized crime acts taken to that kids were maintained to collusion with methodically. Um, it is recorded and confessed and demonstrated, communicated and demonstrated by a Joe Aiello that a former Mayor Gold was with his roles with people that were used in database illusion stack and identity thefts against me online through time, recorded in relation to active interbranch judges switching names, forging names, interbranch in collusion, switching names, stacking me, attaching me to fake arrests with officers that never arrested me. All these to stop to block their passion crimes used not to have it reported because they needed to pretend relationships that never were like a Joey Quest and all those tied to him, recorded and confessed, tied to interbranch medical corruption, foreign and domestic, judges, family members, judges with federal crime rules, and with these clicks, also with the Trade Center attack context, and with predicate acts attaching me to fake conversations about police equipment. I never had a conversation with police equipment about anyone in my life about recording equipment of police. So they did that, forging names and a Brendan Leahy and his father, Brendan Leahy, and his whole family works there in a Hartford triage. They used to block me from making a police report against them using child abuses juxtaposed with other natures of crimes so they can, for what they're juxtaposing natures of crimes in individuals. So, anyways, when I was a kid, normal school, this is what happens to everyone. Normal school, but there's a theater there that everyone's pretending is our other causes, like a Debbie Gold. Never sat next to her. I mentioned one time we played dreidels. First grade, we never had any problem. Never talked to her privately or anything like that. After that, around that time, is when um, two two O'Brien brothers and family had me go sleep over there once or twice, something like that. And they made confessions and demonstrations of their roles with juxtaposed overt criminal enterprises and interbranch investigators. And the first I experienced, see, I never had a class with them though in grammar school, but the first one was in my grade age, and the other one was a year younger, I think. Yeah, so these are police families, also recorded and confessed involved with WFSB, retired and standing, also criminally involved with Sandy Hook, doctors and their patients, recorded with online and on campus crime roles with kids, with the principal sex offender. They also crimes that forced him sustained, and that by setting up lies about other people, try to know the proofs of other worst still tied to the school. This is plural. This is recorded and confessed. So, anyways, when I was in school, anyway, I never had anything to do with that Debbie Gould. I mentioned one exception. She faked behavior. There was another exception too. I noted, but there was one time with a letter Out of nowhere, she came and was 2 times she did that, and then years later in 6th grade, she did that. And I never saw her. You don't see her all day, so I don't know from another classroom came in or what. I don't even think she was in my classroom because that's what they did. And then it was that was a 6th grade when Eric Klotz came in. Also, this is recorded with foreign and domestic collusion with medical drug crime rules, with identity theft crime rules, with databases, and with O'Connor. And that's the name of the new guy. I don't know if that's the same guy, though. These are also people. I haven't had a conversation with my sister in life. And I'm not, and the reason I didn't do that, too, because it's very frustrating because it's the same cliques every campus I went to. These are people tied to criminal justice roles and kind of relationships to the campuses that they don't talk about with the training of police and stuff like that. But it was used to invest them criminally foreign influenced, which I'm not a lawyer, I'm not police form, I have no criminal record. They're recorded using a New Britain Superior Court and other courts to stack database identity thefts, attach me and kids to fake relationships, even fake relationships to doctors. Even me as a fake relationship to doctors as a kid too. And they told that to the news and they hid before that the courts online and other recorded rape threat rolls, predicate act rolls since 2000, not letting me report things, all kind of different people, more and more. So they don't, because this is also tied to their crime rolls with military, police, foreign and domestic, with on off-campus CCSU, on the records or not, Normandy Heights, and that spot with the serial killer body dumping spot, which might have been made up, but the people in the place also recorded and confessed with all the dozens of the houses in my area with recorded, orchestrated crime acts rolls with overt criminal enterprises. So anyway, these are people with passions that jump like online. These are people with identity thefts online overtly. New Britain Superior Court overtly with force, sustained sexual and other threats and harassments and identity thefts against me. People like a Joshua Julian recorded using the Highcrest Facebook page to further criminal enterprises narratives, proven false, because this was his recorded and confessed how they were exploiting how negotiations are just left where we have legalized criminal enterprise natures, which you can't legalize. No, in other words, nations, all knaves together, agreed to policing, agreed to roles with physical delusions left in the sciences for criminal means. In other words, there's a mayor goal. I never had a conversation that was never in the presence of a legal either, but he's recorded and confessed involved. See, they also. So I went through high school, through grammar school, and then they attached me to fake relationships in grammar school to people pretending I knew them in grammar school, in middle school, because they needed to further illusions and to pretend to believe things because the gold guy was involved with database illusion stacking. And see, now this is presently recorded and confessed and demonstrated with a Joe Aiello, a Joe DeMoro, a Heather Hansen, 2 Mendez brothers, Yagman brothers, Pandolf brothers, all kinds of other brothers and stuff like that. Like on each side of the high school too, like the Pandolf near the Samuel Dick's house too. A little bit of house school out right between So the Yagman family also recorded and confessed involved with also recorded and confessed Mendez brothers with in-court, out-court, online police rape threat rolls, faking recorded things to hide and to force sustain sexual crime act roles as evidence crime roles with the same clicks from the Trade Center context that have been with predicate act roles, like a Scalora family. They also need to pretend it's personal. I barely know her, and in other words, they have interbranch actors who've been coaching people from my grade because the kids I grew up with also had roles with federal criminals who had a former director of the FBI as their co-defendant, former director Luskin, who used to be former standing chairperson on RICO law, which is, I don't even know if Comey's a real guy. But this guy knows how to litigate dishonestly. This is in relationship to his lawyer too, involved with the people with the shifting confessions, and there being no place to demonstrate this, like with Eric Burgess and with Emily or Amy, recorded in the court, confessed and recorded, tied to the guy that was in the court that day, and I don't know the name of the judge, which was a guy named Hunter, also recorded, confessed, involved with the organized crime with CCSU on and off campus, tied to the Trinity College. These same groups, also Carone brothers, recorded and confessed, involved identity thefts, evidence reception crime rules with the policing of the stores and stuff like that year, like intercity and tied to CCSU, database crimes, identity thefts, roles, interdepartment positions being exploited criminally, like a Cohen from the English chair from CCSU, recorded and confessed, involved, recorded and demonstrated involved with evidences crimes with police intercity, tied to a Detective Samuda who pretended he arrested me. See, and that was a guy who said his name was McDonald's from East Hartford, and then who didn't let me report rape threats that were recorded online, tied to people with the schools, and tied to this Joey Quest. I don't know. This is also because they were tied to my previous neighbor's extended family before and since they left. Demonstrated and recorded, involved with our Dillon family and with other retired and standing detectives and people associated with Hartford Hospital medical corruption with sex offenders, doctors forging and switching names, also a Lethe family, a Lombardo family, a Judge Killian, but he's out of sequence. We have to get the judges in sequence. He's also recorded with that they're doing tricks with recording themselves, pretending things are recorded, sequence shifts that they're not letting reported with their identity thefts. Predicate acts too, because they attached me to fake conversations about 9/11 with actors in the context that had been coached, in other words, had been cultivated to lie, progression, cover up nature needs and roles with identity thefts, like a Sabi Scalora, who I know of only because he pretended to know me a couple times from distance. And one time, only, two times. One time in some orchestration they set up in Glastonbury, because they have evidence reception bodies in relationships to jobs and the training of kids, where everything's named that is being exploited to pretend that it's not real life. What's motivating it was what the gold guy. See, when I was running, there was the same group was recorded harassing me when I was running, doing crazy things when I was running, tied to their, in the context of things now, like the Gilmore lady, and they switching names too, my professor, and people they had in the class that were tied to the retired and standing military, foreign and domestic, with the apartments and stuff like that, like Normandy Heights, Covington Street. Then the houses there that tied to school and not. And then with those are with like under all different kind of natures of policing, undercover and stuff and training like that, which are recorded and confessed involved. Like Lacey Ann communicated that she has sequence shifting roles and different natures of crime roles with evidence perception natures that were intercampus, intercity. And then this is tied to corruption with play people, interstate, and with movie guys, same time up the street. Wydell brothers were demonstrated and recorded and involved with the interbranch criminal enterprises with the areas exploited. So whatever they have on paper is not real. And they've had judges and cliques like drug and evidence fabrication nature cliques, identity theft cliques within the Britain Superior Court and with other, I believe, other courts and stuff ties with them that were directed to tell lies and pretend they knew me when I was a kid. Also tied to the class military corruption, family, foreign, and domestic is a Kathy Tanzi, recorded and confessed involved with a South Silviello, pretending I had a conversation about the CIA, which is what the Lethe did, because they couldn't let me make a police report because I in other words, I caught they're recorded with an MPO Floyd, forging names, switching names, drug crime rules with kids, with in context tied to untimely deaths on and off campus connected. Medical corruption juxtaposed uses of that for Hugh Ogden and for other people tied to forging my name. Also with Rocky Hill. Also recorded and confessed tied to houses on Walker Hill. And they're near the, I believe probably near the Samuel Dick's house, because there are so many that I don't know who demonstrated that place tied to the roles, having sought me out to demonstrate roles covering up lie progressions from people that started this in grammar school. So now I'm asking to report the rest of the child predator acts and the method recorded that forced that principal sex offender sustained that has been lying to PTO about me because they got stuck painted in a corner with crimes with criminal enterprises, pretending they're just undercover because there were acts with areas to make illusions tied to the crime and action cases. This is also a proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit in the context of the Trade Center attack. This is also a recorded pattern of crimes with that now let reported, because the investigators had crime rules with it. And they have there's also the Schlechta brothers. I never had anything to do with the Schlechta brothers. There's that name too. I put garbage for the email. Nothing against them, but Joe DeMoro recorded and confessed with others that they're associated with them with identity thefts and with crimes with the policing that with the shared with other nations and stuff like that. With on the records or not realized, criminal foreign influences uses of them for crimes with evidence perception rackets, like with Wethersfield Police, interbranch, foreign and retired and standing leaders, with the state judicial branch officers, with the Faenza family and houses next to that, recorded and confessed involved with predicate acts and crime methods and acts and roles with child offenders, and with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso with interbranch and forensics clerks criminally involved with them, and with the Dylan guy, recorded and confessed involved with the new and past neighbors. I don't even know the new neighbor's name. They sought me out to demonstrate this and would confess too, with the Dylan who non-verbally demonstrated, also recorded and confessed with the rest. I don't know the names of the people. One of the guys I know, he used to work at the community center. Also recorded and confessed with Alex Mayano. Recorded and confessed involved with the identity thefts, federal crimes, with evidence crime rolls, with people with the San Juan Center, with criminal justice, with CCSU, tied to his brother. Also with the fake news stories, with the courts, drug evidence fabrication, nature, slander, and identity theft clicks, and worse, and child offenders, even using their own kids in the. So that's how this. Why it's important to understand how the Mayor Gold is recorded to correlation. See, we need people to be able to debate if they think something's not right. See, but I can't go back and fight people then. I need to deal about how now they're recorded. That guy's recorded now. I'm just noting that because wherever they're trying to pretend that databases are real when they know they're not. They know they're not. That's recorded. In other words, in other words, they make people pretend passions when they're in the grades because they're attaching people to fake relationships to others because they're maintaining criminally foreign influence roles, like with the acting department, with the Frankie Reese, tied to with the medical corruption, overt drug crime roles, undercovers mixed used for evidence reception reactive crime roles leading up to and in cases already through time to cover up lie progressions. Also, that's tied to the narratives and or the real. Those two guys who broke from that crazy prison they described. Frankie Reese also recorded and confessed involved with the Wethersfield police and the intercity police with the child offenders. Also a former Dr. Judd, his son, and Wayne recorded and confessed involved with the Frankie Reese interbranch. See, the state judicial branches with others that were involved with identity thefts, with crimes with color, kids, our color, all color, within their narratives, where they're using those kids for evidence reception predators roles. Like the kid they had come when I first came into the high school, come around the corner and punch me. And not like in other words, they timed it to show me that they were timing stuff everywhere, every school I went to, even grammar school, first year. See, but I didn't know how to box or fight or anything. But my father had a professional boxer at the time. So it didn't really it didn't really hurt me that much, but it would hurt a lot of kids. They're gonna, what they're doing. They're shaping kids with not real behavior of the other kids. They're hurting their own kids just for the money of it. This is a value system other than realities. Like there's a league goal. Confessed, recorded, and demonstrated. I've never been in the presence of my life. Barely been in the presence of the Debbie Gold. Involved with violence on Griswold Street. Involved with wire crimes, mail crimes. Involved with the ILO family, with the interbranch cliques. Through time with the identity thefts, crime rolls with the people with the Trade Center attack context. Tied to the doctors and the investigators and the judges with recorded crime rolls, acts, and roles in nature recorded. Inclusion. With personal ties to them, with drug cliques and other natures of crimes with kids already growing through time. Then they attach me where those people are federal criminals. In a case my father won, they pretend he lost it. Then, in a case that was going on at the time of his death, they pretend I had come. They said things, So in other words, they also sequence shifts. They had me there the first time 3 days. I had no conversation with him. I pushed the other guy away. Then he forced his. I didn't push him away. I just, I had nothing to do with him because I've already seen his son there. Never had a conversation before. Keep that simple, because I already saw before that the guy involved with the recorded demonstrated child offenders. They're pretending it's not real because they know it's recorded, but it's not proven. They're playing tricks with allegations. They're not caring about the allegations because they're just making stuff up. And they wouldn't have stacked all the people at CCSU and Trinity College, like the Main family, the Main brothers, and the Mendez brothers with the police, intercity, with the crimes with the kid, Mulcahy. I never had a conversation with Mulcahy in my life. John Mile told me that she made. John Mile, too, pretended that he knew me earlier than he did. But in other words, he was involved with the friends of, like, a Rick Chamfayon and a Ray Claw. I never saw them hanging out together their entire time when they were in high school. Then they graduated. So they did little tricks with sequence shifts, and they built exceptions to say, so they could play stupid with time in courts. That's why it's unfolding like that still. So anyways, these are people associated with extended family members of a Ray Claw and of a sister associated with intercity police, like a Newington police, or a Phelps guy recorded and confessed involved criminally with them, with a Phil Claw also with state police and with people associated with courts and prisons and stuff, and intercampus with the child offenders further, and which forced sustained and further sustained still with the recently sentenced principal sex offender. There's worse still with his campus and with other campuses tied. That's why I don't know about the O'Connor guy. And see, they're not letting acts told because they're needing to use family members, recorded using family members for tricks with fact treatment nature, because they're recorded knowing they have no integrity, pretending they have the right to lie for what they don't, making mistakes in cases on purpose, recorded as sequence shifts and stuff show, further recorded, tied to the ones. Then so after the proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit in the Trade Center attack context, that led to a 2006 case in Connecticut District Court. Also the New Haven Register recorded and confessed involved with, like, WFSB, other natures of police. So in other words, a Rick Chamfayon also recorded and confessed involved crimes with the O'Brien family growing up, and in sequence in relationship. I think fourth grade, Ray Cole came in and his sister and family. And then in fifth grade, they put Joe DeMore in my class with the Pruzzi guy. Also, these are people recorded and confessed involved with the intercampuses and internatures of campuses crimes, like fire departments. And what was it? And so, like medical camps, like Mancini family. This is also a family I never had. The only time I was ever in his presence outside of school was Weathersfield people. A guy who's a Weathersfield police officer now recorded and confessed that he'd been demonstrated to make a bomb with Ray Colo's house. No, not my house. Using their drill thing and stuff like that. And then we went over there and shot it on the side of the house, so no one will get hit. That's where I said, because they were going to put it. I don't know where they were going to put it, in the street, or it was still not safe. which I wouldn't recommend it doing that, because especially now. But see, that was the police. That was people directing that. Those aren't people I hung around with all the time. I would only know them from confessions and demonstrations of their roles with that, which was already tied to their crime roles with male crimes, fake sides of issues with courts that were offensively demonstrating their roles. I had to write a complaint against a, Judge Smith, because he attached me to fake. Because you're not supposed to make opinions in a sentencing, but he used that to speak into the record illusion that I was attached to other people too. I didn't put that in the complaint because I didn't. I didn't. It was just like I heard the name railroaded used by legal professionals before. See, this is a railroading that they're doing with areas too. See, with identity thefts. See, because this guy Gold is also recorded and confessed involved with undercovers, with forensics, places like that, with evidence perception, and with various natures of courts, mixed foreign and domestic, tied to the clots with the clicks with the body dumping spots, criminally, with the interbranch clicks, like with the in the state and the state prison offices, with the Fienzos also recorded and confessed with intercity election crime rolls, with agencies too. So these are former director of the FBI, standing chairperson on RICO law, was the one of his co-defendants, had a daughter migrated, also recorded and confessed involved with the rest of the child predators and with the intercampus stuff like that, like a John LeConte, also recorded and confessed involved with crimes with Russians and stuff like that, with fire departments and with a web school, and with houses next to that, with the military, foreign, and domestic cliques. Also, they pretend to be a prejudice against other nations because the Justice Kovinskis does that because he had crime goals recorded, confessed with people associated with like other nations, like tied to Colleen Keys, also Dr. Shub of Modern Languages, recorded, confessed involved with crimes with them with that intercity and with Rocky Hill, with a big Y. Now I don't know if they made up fake news too with that, but that's also tied to the Petro K, a boat place, and other extended family members of Ray Colo, recorded and confessed. You know, like a. This is involved also with like their roles with confessions and demonstrations of identity theft roles with overt criminal enterprises associated with the area, various ways facilitated to it by collusion with what is like the recorded ties with the witness protection program to my area, tied to the FBI. Many other ways with the area too, criminally involved, like Ian up the street recorded and confessed involved by a number of other people, and by someone online who said, I don't know if it's the right last name of the Ian because I never had a conversation with him. I walked by him and he was confirmed. Jennifer Kennepicky also recorded and confessed involved with them with crimes with Middletown, where it used to be a Harbor Park or something like that. I forgot the names of it. A whole bunch of foreign and domestic police families and military families and stuff like that. So roles with the child sex offender cliques, identity theft cliques, all tied to my neighbors. Like these are people that would sequentially, I met them real briefly, then I never had anything to do with them. You know, they sought me out to make confessions when they were kids about their roles with probate court judges, sick with kids, and about their roles with kids who I later found out were also probate judges, extended family members. involved. So they have identity theft where they have people fake passions, but they're also doing this because they're keeping people from being able to report crime acts by the same people for being little rats, but making things up. And then what happens when you keep doing that? Everyone's experience, no one follows the rules. You know what I'm saying? Means nothing to anybody. Then everyone lied. They're building liars with the people that they're. In other words, there are people in New Britain Superior Court recorded and confessed to involved per people tied to them per recorded reality that they were raised spreading rumors about me, pretending, and then before they were in the court, they were used for federal crimes. Then this is how the overt criminal enterprises are juxtaposed with legalized nation share here, and then with unrealized criminal enterprises, and with natures of agencies and within as the value of every modern nation as pseudo-positive, victim predators methodically maintained intact, incapable of countering the nature of organized crime that was originally, even of allowing it understood, because this demonstrates what they can't understand and get off their pseudo-positive justification convictions with physical delusions, sequence shifts. When they make convictions about the integrity of any modern nation's agencies, even trying to pretend that it's not care. That's not trying to say, because we have to worry about North Korea meeting. If you want to care about North Korea, you care about our relationship to reality, nature, the Trinity, relationship to itself. Just like our identity is a value onto all finite parts of ourselves at once, onto all sequence nature of ourselves as once, as its own one. For not, the identity of space is this. It is not positive or negative. It is now I'm getting theoretical. It is a little bit more of what is forcing the perfect value progression, the perfect value gain of temporary space nature, which is the perfect value gain of the forever nature that temporary space nature is too. And as a quality of diffusion, act inherently, actively, and progressively at the same time. Even those values bonded out here, active. You see, I lost course returns. So it's just real simple. The people I had nothing to do with in grammar school, and they pretended other with passions to sequence shift real fast, and that's all it was. And they also have a name game. We'll get to that. Then middle school, they had people like a Kerr family confess, record, involved with a organized crime group, the Gotti family, and that's the also recorded, confessed, involved with other criminal enterprises with them and with it tomorrow at the same time. Recorded, confessed that they were involved with their brothers and family members with crimes with these cliques and with the campuses, but with their narratives where they're talking about, they're pretending I knew them in grammar school because they're tied to the gold guy some way, and this is tied to like Washington D.C. a number of ways, So the only place I ever, I didn't even go there with him. I went there to see him The only place I ever went to see, besides Old Town Cafe, which then I couldn't get a hold of him again because he made even more confessions. Just straight Chris Walters, a stranger I only know of from confessions out of nowhere about this, about his roles with CCSU clique on off campus, intercity, his roles with private schools, kids on each side of the high school and the middle school, involved with drug dealing and identity thefts, and roles, programs with policing of kids and stuff like that with identity thefts, database crime roles tied to the houses around the Samuel Dix house that place was originally used for, with slavery that George Washington had to leave in Wethersfield right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even with the help of the French general. Overt slavery with color. Very easy to discern criminal foreign influences. Prejudice doesn't go seek someone out to make slaves. An organized crime method does that. A human fact treatment nature racket does that. It has a whole bunch of crazy laws against everyone that does that. It has a whole bunch of crazy roles because it's keep watching everyone, keeping everyone alive, progression cover roles, watching and cultivating, investing everyone, needing it, blamed on the causes of everything bad, blamed on other causes, on other things, vaccines, on selves. So our course was never told. Not because it's hard, because they're victim predators raised to criminal insidiousness nature narratives into science as predators against correlation nature, handed up what is off the records maintained because it knew that branches propagated victim predators like that would appreciate and have right there what the Gold family facilitate for them. Then they lie to my family members. They make illusions. I mean, this is with the people that I never even had anything to do with ever, like a Joshua Julian, with the Facebook page of Highcrest School, and with them still using that to hide the rest of the sex offenders associated with New Britain Superior Court recorded having forced sustained their rape threats since before I tried to report the untimely death and other stuff tied to that place and that guy's confessions. Repeated, called my house a whole bunch of times. Then they arrested me for harassment because they got mixed up and he made confessions too about a Mike Levine also recorded and confessed involved with CCSU. Predicate acts clicks with the Trade Center, the identity theft clicks, the Morrow brothers and cousins, same DeMorrow name too. Also recorded and confessed involved using how they have businesses near their place in Rocky Hill on Susty Highway and a place on Franklin Avenue near Hartford Hospital, recorded and confessed with their roles with doctors, with more child offenders, with their patients, and with undercovers with that place, tied to a Dillon family too. That I never had, this recorded though. And they're, in other words, they're reported also and recorded also involved with fake news people and child offenders further intercity, not just the ones in my area and with the school proving tied to them, like a former police dispatcher's kids, tied to another one, tied to their mother, recorded with the hospital, with the families tied to the houses here that attached me to fake conversations, forged doctors' names, fake conversations about police surveillance equipment. Never had a conversation with that about anybody. Then they had like some foreign-looking doctors. Foreign, nothing against foreigners. This is about criminal foreign influences that is there here. This is to help them, to help here, because we have the same enemy that is not sourced by one nation, but it's keeping each nation knaves. That's why we have suit and ties counter to it, and no one ever challenges how psycho the solutions are with nuclear weapons. In other words, on all sides. So each sides are moving for it. That's the nature. It's an identity of negative value nature progression. We're all semi-identity roles with it. The only way to fix this is to go to space nature's value nature system, and/or to be trying to. As long as we're trying to be the nature to do that, then we see the means to do it. Otherwise, we never do. We see worse. Lethe of Hades, everything get worse. Only thing gets better is it gets easier to see, but then it's too late. How long we've been one species depleting the value of Earth through us because we're from tactically ulterior from space's system, which uses ground as positive, like water. Interaction, in other words, its identity comes from before the depths, then as the value of the depths. Can't cut that off concrete. You can cause negative value in each progression. That's what they did before our founders were born. They already had these home setups, styles set up specifically to create negative value nature progressions, specifically for this game. Boxing, but needs to rest. I tell it best. So the same rat mobs are the ones tied to the rat. Doesn't mean they're true either. They want to be called rat because they imply truth. There's the nature of crime they're involved with intercity. See, there's nowhere to reach for help because all these groups are criminally foreign influence, lie progression, cover up nature's needs and styles. Did you see like Puerto Rico? You think they care about pride? That's not pride. They wouldn't have had. They have a whole island there. They have all that medical industry and stuff like that. They have zoning laws that are criminally foreign influence. They're here. They have roles with fact cheating nature rackets. They're here with prison. Sammy Vega, others with Puerto Rico with a shared criminal justice policing on-off CCSU, other campuses connected because that's the way they do the system. Eric Jensen, Eric Oliveri, recorded and confessed to involved with database, illusion stack crimes with these people, like the Yagmans, recorded and confessed involved with the interbranch policing collusion, forging names, identity thefts, evidence crimes with child sex offender cliques, attaching people to fake arrests, attaching people to fake relationships in the past to police that know they can't tell the truth about that. I don't know, nothing to do with Eric Menzies except for his roles, confessed, involved, demonstrated, involved, and recorded, demonstrated, recorded, involved. Well, unless whose phone he called from, how he got my number, but after I handed in about tied their doctors and overt criminal enterprises with drugs and with interbranch cliques, foreign and domestic with a fragrance and with people I didn't know that were directed to make confessions to me, in sequence. Because that was now I'm in high school, so this, in other words, we went from grammar school is regular, but there was a couple of incidences where they're faking things I didn't understand. They're pretending passions because they're putting, God knows what they're putting in databases. I know it's fake legal. Fake medical relationships to doctors they're putting with kids, doctors with roles, with lie progressions, even offensively kept, preemptively made and kept, like with the the Mayor Gold family involved with the active crimes from the past, per the Joella and the clique with the Trade Center attack, proven sequence chefs in the Ninth Circuit Trade Center attack, and people that were in the area the night before and stuff like that tied to them. Interstate, worse than interstate. And then with the CCSU, with that, but they have also, he has people he confessed and had recorded ties to, also recorded and confessed, repeated that they have ties to interstate, like judges and cliques like that, like Johnny Duke, the dinosaur of boxing. So this is the guy, the Iowa's kitchen next to a school. Wait, no, I forgot the name of the school in the south end of Hartford. The few of them. I think it's Buckley High. It's the Iowa's kitchen. He's involved with intercity police and judges, retired and standing, and other foreign and domestic, and all kinds of private people identity thefts. So if we could get a response, because the courts, they are also switching names and sequence in Connecticut with this clique tied to the predicate acts. Also confessed and recorded that other federal criminals besides the one with a daughter of mine great had crime rolls with people who were put in classes with me, like Eric Jensen and like Eric Oliveri confessed and recorded involved with crimes with my neighbor Ray, used tied to the crime rolls, uses of him with by O'Brien family in a some Faglione family involved with medical, military, and interbranch crime acts, crime rolls with CCSU on-off campuses, Trinity on-off campuses cliques, different natures of police criminally involved with them through time, with federal criminals, former director of the FBI again, they're co-defendant. Also, New Park Avenue and Farmington Avenue, recorded and confessed involved, well, a bunch of natures of crime with them, with state police, families, and federal criminals demonstrated tied to them, and to John Maiano, people, and like his roles with the neighbors and stuff like that, directed to, in the past, in other words, they hung out with their own friends and their relatives. I never hung around with them at the same time. Every once in a while, they were directed to make the confessions, because they use confessions and demonstrations of roles with what people can't counter, because no one's allowing quality fact treatment, nature, truth, and as the people pretending with passions that they're about that, recorded how it was is motivated. We have 6 branches the way they were originally and still. See what religion fell. So if someone says to follow mandate, this is what they do. If someone says to follow mandate and no one knows what they're talking about, they have to talk about crime acts. But see, now when you need to counter what they now invested to all kinds of natures of crime, federal crimes, mail crime, wire crime, identity theft crimes, evidence crimes, fake police reports, stacking them, interbranch collusion, forging names, switching sequences, no one directing people online to pretend they know you, to pretend they had conversations with you, tied to body dumping spots, tied to untimely death confessions, sequences. Before he tells on that, have someone over here make this confession. It's no good. You see what I'm saying? And then I don't even know how to spell the names of the past or new neighbors involved with this, with the Confederate flag theme here too, with the KKK Confederate flag theme crimes with a black female judge. I don't know if she, because there's also a black doctor recorded involved and confessed involved with the Lethe family with crimes with that. and with the military corruption, and with their fake conversations about the Trade Center attack and about the cases of my father with and as their recorded crime rolls with federal criminals and people tied to those federal criminals in that case, in those cases, in parts of case. And that is still recorded interbranch and confessed interbranch police with the extortion of me and with the identity theft rolls against me on off campuses, intercity, switching names and stuff like that, directing people to make switch shifting confessions, then not letting other people that you have to tell someone else now. In other words, that's also criminal uses of a Hartford court for a deposition, tied to the leading up to the 2006 case where the former director was in I was there, witnessed it. The former director, Robert Luskin, in that part of the case for in the district court of New Haven. Now that was after the sequence shift before the panel of judges in the Ninth Circuit had been proven. I mean, after it had been proven, that led to that part of the case. The civil RICO case, which is Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. And these are guys associated with the transition from ACA to RICO criminally, and with people recorded and confessed criminally involved with Joshua Julian, and with their narratives and uses of criminal enterprises juxtaposed with the kids, with undercovers too, and with the physical delusions and pseudo-morality and uses of that to make for other natures of crime not being reported, because they've been stacking databases with identity theft. They're pretending things in courts. They're pretending to make mistakes in courts. They know they're not supposed to do hearsay in courts, so they're setting up illusions outside of courts, and that's also being facilitated outside, because that's a method that originally bonded all people to all these other methods as fact treatment nature rackets, blaming on other causes and then invested needing to defend their fact treatments that way. Bro, I tell no joke. See through clear smoke, criminal insidiousness nature. See through into the clear. The clear is clear to itself. The identity of space is inside the identity of existence. The identity of space, as great as it is, it can't be the complete identity of existence. Only a little bit more and more and more, unceasingly. Because it's a semi-nature of itself coming a little bit more and more, of its complete nature coming a little bit more and more into this temporary, lasting, forever nature. In other words, not just why do we have alpha and omega? This is to teach about polarity nature. Why does the identity of positives value nature have polarity nature? His name is used to teach this, because the polarity has either a positive or negative relationship to itself. And this is the Trinity. In other words, the A that is only going to stay non-distinctly perfect value progression of and as its own values nature, possession. Value nature is either shadow of possession, in other words, just only temporary positive, and then as negative value nature, as this system ulterior from space as it makes it stay Lethe of Hades. I forgot what I was going to say. So, thank you. Come again. This is an hour exactly. My name is Anthony Wall. My YouTube channel's name is Romulus Wall. Anthony Wall is a golfer, so I took this one there where he must have Anthony Wall. He's probably the one who got Anthony Wall first. No one had Romulus Wall. So I took Romulus Wall. Romulus Magna Allah, because of the Trinity. And because see, there's two natures of alpha. Romulus and Remus is about this too. Victory and Victoria is about this too. Because there's three natures of victory. There's three natures of everything. Every physical value that is value as a nature, think about it. The identity of space is already beyond it. Its body. See that polarity natures? It makes that body of value have the polarity nature that is beyond its control. This is where we are. Our complete body of value is the semi-nature in relationship to the identity of space. A polarity nature, which is either positive always onto the Trinity itself or not. Religion, every spot. Lost course returns. We'll drop the fours. I speak of swords. Run. Thank you. Come in. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Anthony Wall. There's a little bell near the subscribing button. It doesn't really work unless you press that little bell button, because there's so many people on YouTube now. This is going to be an important channel, because this is where we can demonstrate. This is where you see what is recorded. Fake news. It is recorded that they're being directed to it, influenced by on-off campus police already criminally foreign influence, recorded per a method that invested them to federal crimes with evidences, with databases, where they never get caught because no one realizing what they're doing, and because no job is anything but abridged fact treatment nature convictions, like the Constitution. Abridged. Free speech is stolen. It's that simple. We'll say, oh, what statute is that? Marbury versus Madison. That's what statute.